What's going on, guys? It's Levi. In this video, we're going to be talking about how we turned $12,000 into $55,000 off of one land deal. And so I'm super excited to make this video because it's such a weird situation. And this is probably something that you haven't really seen on YouTube because it involves seller financing, which is something that not many people teach. And so in order to do this, I sold the same property twice. And so I'll get into how I did this later, but essentially the deal was I was $12,000 all in after closing costs. That bought me 4 lots that were already split up, and I sold one of them. I got my $12,000 back, and I was paid back on the first sale. And so again, I was $12,000 all in. This equates to roughly $3,000 a lot. This was in Polk County, Texas. And we actually got this lead by cold calling. At the time, it was just Francis and I. We would cold call on our personal cell phones. We didn't have a massive team. We didn't have any dedicated cold callers. It was just me and my business partner. And so let's talk about the low ticket model, because this is how this is possible, right? And so this model involves super cheap parcels. You're buying lots for a couple $1,000s a piece. And so this is what we did here. I mean, we bought each lot for like $3,000 a piece. We bought it at a pretty big discount, and there's nothing really fancy about it. It's just really low value land that not many people care about. And low value, I mean, $15,000 and under. And I was able to get my money back super fast, and I was able to create income with seller financing that pays me for years. And so let's talk about how I got my money back. So I sold one of these lots for $12,000 cash, and I was $12,000 all in. And so we were super happy at this point because our original investment was fully recovered. I didn't have to go sell a second lot, and I didn't have to worry about selling all of these lots on seller financing and then getting our money back within years, because we got it back pretty much immediately. And so my cost on the remaining 3 lots was pretty much zero. And so every single dollar that these other 3 lots made for me was essentially just pure profit at this point. And so we were also selling these lots on Facebook Marketplace. And so we weren't paying any realtor fees or anything like that. We did an owner-to-owner transaction. And so there was no closing costs. So that $12,000, was $12,000. We didn't spend money on realtor fees, closing costs, etc. And so let's talk about the second step. And so we sold the other 3 lots on financing. And so how we did this was, originally we were planning on selling 3 of those lots individually. And so this is kind of what it looked like. There was 3 lots on the road like this. There was one bigger lot in the back. And so we planned on selling 2 lots by themselves, and then a third lot it was a longer skinny parcel that would have kind of that back portion included as well, because if we didn't sell that back portion with one of the lots on the road, it would have been landlocked. And so we ended up finding a buyer that wanted all 3 lots. And so I told him I couldn't really give him a bulk discount because we make more money selling individually. And so he was fine with that. We did give him a slight discount. And so we were planning on selling the front lots for $12,000 a piece, and then that back chunk, maybe like $10K. And so selling those 2 front lots in that back portion would have been $34,000. We ended up getting him at $33,000. He got a $1,000 discount. And so what this looked like was, he gave us like $4,000 down, and so it was like a $29,000 note, 10% APY, and it was like $600 a month for 5 years. And so the contract value with interest was like $40K. And so at this point, my cost basis on these 3 lots was 0 because we made our money back right away. And so that $4,000 down payment that we got was pure profit immediately after we closed. And so then, of course, the monthly payments start rolling in on top of that. And so then he stopped paying. And so this is what scares people, because a lot of people assume that if your buyer stops paying, there's a huge problem and now you're gonna have to like go to court. You're gonna have to sue this guy. But what ended up happening is we kept like 2 payments, right? So all in, we got like $5,200 or something like that. And so from there, he told us, there was like an emergency. He needed to put his money elsewhere. He can't afford to pay for the property anymore. And so he wanted to essentially give it back to us. And so what we did something called a deed in lieu of foreclosure. And we essentially got the property back in our name in like 2 weeks. And so this is pretty much what happens when the person you sold to on payment stops paying. I tried to get a deed in lieu of foreclosure signed. And so the reason that this works is because with seller financing, you are the bank. They pretty much have a mortgage on the property and you are the bank. And so the loan is secured by the land itself. And so what happens if you foreclose on your house? The bank pretty much gets their property back. It's the same thing with land. And so if they sign that deed in lieu of foreclosure, what that essentially means is they're pretty much notarizing a deed back to you. And so that's not a big court battle you gotta fight. The buyer voluntarily signs the property right back over to you. It's fast, it's cheap, and it's way less painful for anyone involved. So this works if you have a deed of trust set up, and it works when the buyer is willing to cooperate. And of course, this exact process can vary depending on your paperwork. Again, like if you're doing like a contract for a deed, I've never done it like that, but my understanding is it's a little bit different. And of course, the state that you're in as well is going to play a huge factor. So I'm not an attorney. I'm not trying to play one. Do some research on your state laws, and before you close, ask your title company or real estate attorney what the best way to foreclose would be in the case that you have to deal with this. But this is a safety net because I got to keep all of the money that buyer had paid me. I got the asset back and I got to sell it again. And so my worst case here was that I just had to go find a new buyer. I didn't lose anything. And of course, at this point, I was already making money. So step 3 is I sold the property again. And so I ended up being able to sell this property for more. So I sold it for $35,000. I got $5,000 down. And then this guy wanted to pay it off a little bit faster. And so he was paying me, or he still is paying me, $1,384 a month. And it's a 2-year term. And so this contract value is roughly $38,224. And so I got 2 down payments and I had 2 income streams from the same property. Now, of course, one isn't there anymore, but one of them is still paying me. And this is on the same 3 lots. And so this is the power of financing, because on a cash deal, you can never do something like this. And having to foreclose on a property sounds very scary, and it scares a lot of people off, but the reality of the situation, sometimes it can really work out in your favor. And so let's look at the full picture here, because I was all in $12,000 on this deal, and I recovered my original investment back on just selling one of the properties. And so then I sold the 3 lots. I got like $5,200 from the first buyer. And then I ended up reselling it. My second buyer gave me $5,000 down. And now I'm getting $1,384 a month still coming in. I've only had a couple payments from this guy, so I still have a lot of time left on this loan. And I made, so like what's in my bank account right now? $12,000 plus $5,200 plus $5,000. So we're all in like $22K. And I've had a couple payments from this guy, so maybe like closer to $26,000. And so the real power of this seller financing model that no one really teaches is how many times a single piece of cheap land can pay you out on, and how you are protected the entire way through the process. And so guys, I turned $12,000 into $55,000, and that of course is still getting paid out to me. I didn't get that all up front, but that's the power of seller financing. And so if you guys want to learn how to do stuff like this, feel free to book a call below. We'll go over your exact situation to see if the land flipping launchpad would make sense for you to get started in. It's for beginners and moderately seasoned investors. And of course, if you guys like the video, make sure you actually leave a like on the video, subscribe if you are new, and leave a comment if you have any questions or if you just learned something new that you think is cool. And with that being said, guys, I hope you have a nice rest of your day, and peace out.